Hey everyone, Hank with Outer Rim Travels here. I am absolutely thrilled to be able to share my time at Disneyland Paris with you guys. Not only are we going to cover all the entertainment, check out that gorgeous parade. Hey Minnie. But of course we're going to go over all the foods we had, including Chef Remy. Spoiler alert, it was delicious, you guys. And then of course we're going to cover a few other things. We did try the crepes. Had to try the chicken tenders. And all Mickey-shaped food is yummy. Oh, don't judge me. Yes, we went to McDonald's for breakfast. Naturally, we're going to hit all the attractions, and Ratatouille was our very first, because we had lunch at Remy just next door. Phantom Manor was definitely my favorite, though. So creepy, you guys. Just wait till you see it. And then the classics, Pinocchio, Peter Pan, and of course the Pirates of the Caribbean, which had its own little island adventure isle to explore, with caves and a bridge, everything. Over at Walt Disney Studios, we had a chance to explore Avengers Campus, which was marvelous, pun intended. Ooh, check out Iron Man. Yeah, and Flight Force was pretty intense. If you're familiar with Rock and Roller Coaster, that was the re-theme. Web Slingers, always a blast. But we kicked things off at the airport by taking the magical shuttle, which was awesome. Bonjour from Disneyland Paris. It is nice and early. It's 8 a.m. and we're heading into Disney Village because we have the early morning hours. So when you stay on property, you do get to enter an hour before everybody else, which is super nice. It's about 40, so cold for us folks from Florida, but not too bad actually. I was expecting it to feel much colder. We're going to grab a Starbucks, gotta have my white chocolate mocha, and then head into the park for a full day of rides. We have the Premier Pass, so join us over there for some coffee and a full day of attractions at Disneyland Paris. Can't believe we're here. Yeah, we're here. Yeah, so we chose Disney Sequoia Lodge as one of 3 that are walking distance to the parks. So as you take this little walking path, you're going to come across a lake, and there you've got Newport Bay Club on the left, Disney Village straight ahead, and to the right, Disney Hotel New York, the Art of Marvel. Really pretty. We're heading into Disneyland, but you've got to walk through the Disneyland Hotel. See that behind me there? Obviously, this is as close as you get, but it's their flagship resort, so it is a little pricier. All right, let's go. How exciting! We're heading to the hotel guest entrance, and got to use your hotel key card, which actually is also your park ticket. See that right there? In typical Disney fashion, everything went incredibly smoothly, so really no different than visiting Walt Disney World or Disneyland in California. Okay, here we go. Disneyland Paris, first time. Check it out. It's really difficult to put into words the feeling of walking into my first international Disney park. Everything was brand new, yet at the same time, it feels so familiar. If you're looking around, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Here we are, entering Main Street, but in France. How crazy is that? Brand new, yet familiar at the same time. How beautiful that is, you guys. There's the train station, which still says Euro Disney, by the way. You've got City Hall here on the left, and the stroller wheelchair rentals, restrooms and stores here on the right. I kind of love that this gazebo here in the middle obscures the view of the castle, so you kind of have to walk around to get a peek. Oh, wow. Yeah, that castle is gorgeous. As you walk over this way, you come across a familiar sight. There's the Emporium. We know that shop really well. And off on this side, you've got Boardwalk Candy Palace, shops and things on that side. So pretty, you guys. That castle is beautiful. Look at that castle, Evie.
It looks incredible.
You excited?
Super!
It's familiar, but all brand new at the same time, which is kind of bananas. All right, let's head over to the castle, better known as Le Château de la Belle Bois Dormant. Quick hyperlapse there for you. It is just so stunning. Wow, that castle is gorgeous, you guys. So beautiful. We're gonna go visit Maleficent and then head up to the Christmas shop and check out the stained glass that tells the story of Sleeping Beauty. All right, here we go. Ooh, dark and ominous. Now, I'm not 100% sure this is Maleficent or just a dragon, but you know, she resembles Maleficent and she's underneath Sleeping Beauty Castle, so yeah, that works for me. And here she is. So occasionally she does wake up and is surprised that the humans are staring at her, you know, so she gets all huffy and puffy. It is so cool, you guys. By the way, she was the largest animatronic built at that time in 1992. Eventually settles down and goes back to sleep. And that's our cue to head upstairs and check out Merlin's gift shop. So Merlin l'Enchanteur is the castle's custom glass workshop. There's some really gorgeous stuff in there, which we're about to check out. There's Evie waiting for me at the top of the stairs. By the way, pardon? Les Français. Je suis American. What can I tell you? I'm trying. Okay, here we go. Look at the tiaras right there on the right. So pretty. This spell book over here on the counter was really interesting, and you can't tell because the light is blurring it out, but Higitus Figitus was on there. Merlin's spell. I don't know, seems like the perfect place for this little glass shop. Check out the ornaments. And we're about to visit the year-round Christmas shop, which is located directly across from Merlin's. Okay, let's head over there. Here we are at La Boutique du Château. Hey, Mickey! I love that there's a Christmas shop available year-round, and actually, at Walt Disney World, I always go by the Christmas shop just for those smells of Christmas. Oh yeah, and Stitch is massively popular in France. I'm not sure if it's because his movie is about to come out or, you know, they just love Stitch over there. But it's cool to see he has his own merch sections at almost every store. Yes, the Christmas shop is absolutely beautiful. They've got everything you can possibly imagine, you know, from home goods, you've got some plates and cups, to ornaments and decorations and things like that. Look how cute those are. I actually have some of these, so they're not exclusive to Disneyland Paris. You can get those in the States as well. But not this one. I had to pick up my exclusive Disneyland Paris ornament. All right, so what do you say we head upstairs to check out La Galerie de la Belle Bois Dormant? These gorgeous stained glass windows were created by Paul Chapman, who was an English stained glass expert that worked on restoring Notre Dame, you know, back in the day, not recently. And he was in his 80s, so he actually kind of came out of retirement to oversee the installation of this stained glass art. They're absolutely magnificent. And they tell you the story of Sleeping Beauty as well. So here you've got where the king and queen burned all the spinning wheels so that hopefully Aurora can avoid her fate. Of course, Maleficent had other things in mind. Isn't that pretty, you guys? These gorgeous tapestries, you know, to kind of fill in the blanks of the story, were created by craftsmen from Aubusson, France. These are folks whose know-how of the craft dates back to the Renaissance era. How gorgeous is that, you guys? The books are hand-painted in the manner of medieval illuminations. And there it is, that fateful spinning wheel. Of course, the story continues, and over here, you've got Prince Philip facing off against Maleficent. And here's the part in the story where the fairies, Flora, Fauna, and Merryweather cast their spell and put the entire kingdom to sleep as well. Love the detail of the sleeping knights. So of course Prince Philip heads into battle. And here he is fighting off against Maleficent in dragon form. Not only did this make me want to go rewatch Sleeping Beauty right away, but it makes me super, super excited for the upcoming Villain's Land at Walt Disney World, which will feature Maleficent. There we go. Happy endings. Let's head outside and check out the view, you guys. Talk about a spectacular view. You can see all of Fantasyland pretty much from up here. If you look at the bottom of your screen, see the little balcony? That's where we were walking by. And a fun thing to note are the little golden snails climbing up these spires here. That's Imagineer's homage to a French tradition from Burgundy, where they're escaping the French cooks. That is quite a walkthrough, you guys. Gorgeous. Probably my favorite castle. Kind of combining the experience at Disneyland with Walt Disney World in one just gorgeous castle. Love it so much. So we're heading into Fantasyland. See what we're gonna ride first. I'm curious. Though Ratatouille turned out to be our very first ride at Disneyland Paris, Pinocchio was our first at Disneyland Park. Yeah, Pinocchio is a classic. So cute. Even though I will say this one was a little on the spooky side. These attractions, this one and like Phantom Manor and even the dragon underneath the castle, can be a little scary for the younger kiddos in your party. Just FYI. Now, this is an opening day attraction, and they've also got it at Disneyland in California and Tokyo Disneyland. Not sure why we don't have one at Walt Disney World, but I guess that's what makes all the parks a little different. Here's the part that gets a little creepy, the Pleasure Island section where the kids turn into donkeys. Hey, look at the Mona Lisa right there. Yeah, so you wouldn't know it from this music that's playing, but this section is really creepy in the attraction itself. And of course, as you get into the section with Monstro, the whale, as well. This can be a little scary for smaller kids, I think. Hey, Jiminy. There you go, there's Monstro. Poor Geppetto. And at the end, it's really interesting. The blue fairy, there she is twinkling up there. You're gonna notice the Pepper's Ghost illusion. See her there on the right? Watch her vanish. Just like the effect made famous at the Haunted Mansion. Cool, right? Yeah, we enjoyed riding Les Voyages de Pinocchio, and I'm glad it was our very first at Disneyland Park. Next up, Peter Pan. And here is the Premier Access. Well, Premier Access worked like a charm. Walked right up at Peter Pan, which is one of the attractions that you can use the Premier Access at. Here we go. I'm happy to report that we do have this one at Walt Disney World in Orlando, Florida. Did you know that Peter Pan is actually one of the few remaining attractions that were operational at Disneyland's opening in 1955? How wild is that, huh? Yes, it was redesigned back in '83. And each of the Peter Pans around the world have a unique exterior and a walk-through queue that's all their own. It's such a unique attraction, but really difficult to film, if you know what I mean. And the version at Disneyland Paris is slightly longer, clocking in at about 3 minutes versus the original attraction. It's really interesting this attraction remains just so popular all these years later. I mean, Lightning Lane is always sold out and the standby is packed. It's one of my favorites for sure. Then we took a little break to grab something to eat. We hadn't really had breakfast, so I went for the ham and cheese crepe. It was pretty tasty, but in retrospect, I should have gone the Nutella. Hey, maybe next time. Yep, the Epcot tradition lives on in Paris. We used a trash can as our table. Here's my hot chocolate and crepe. Alright, let's hit Alice's Curious Labyrinth. Evie and I got so lost in here, you guys. I think we were in there for maybe 20 minutes. We just could not find our way to the castle at the center of the maze. But, I mean, we had a lot of fun. Yeah. Which way? That way? Up? Down? Definitely not this way. The hedge maze is divided into two parts. So the first is kind of Wonderland. Here you've got the caterpillar and his hookah. And as you keep going, you eventually come across the dodo bird. There he is. And the goal of the maze is ultimately to reach the Queen's Castle, which is the second half of the maze. And up there you get an aerial view of the entire maze and, portions of Fantasyland. Here we are at the Cheshire Cat Walk. Evie was having fun, even though we got separated a couple of times. We were having fun. Okay, I think we're getting closer. So now we're kind of in the Queen of Hearts realm. You can see the castle up there, but still, we ended up kind of twisting and turning, and this is edited for time, but it took us quite a while in this second half of the maze to reach the castle. And here we are, the Queen of Hearts castle, right at the center of the maze. Let's head upstairs and check out that view. Cool, huh? Totally worth it, getting lost in that maze. I think we had a good time. Now, would we do it again? I don't know, it is a little time consuming, but maybe with a first time visitor. We did enjoy it, don't get me wrong. It just does take some time. Yes, they've got a Toad Hall at Disneyland Paris, but don't get too excited, it's a restaurant. If you know me, you know I love the attraction, but here you can come and have your fish and chips. We'll definitely do that next time. Then we wandered into Adventureland. Of course, had to go check out the Pirates of the Caribbean. However, on your way to the Pirates Fortress, you're going to come across Hook's pirate ship there in Skull Rock. This is part of Adventure Isle. We went to Pirates of the Caribbean first. Yes, that is a restaurant you see here on the left. This is Captain Jack's. It's their version of Blue Bayou over at Disneyland in California. And the start of this attraction is pretty different from the others, though you will recognize several show scenes that are very, very similar. It was so cool navigating through this kind of pirate ship wreckage. Of course, anytime you experience something familiar yet with a twist, it's just absolutely cool. You know what I mean? And these guys were positioned early on in the attraction. We're used to ours at the end. That was kind of interesting. Okay, so here are some of these sections that are familiar. You've got the pirate dunking scene. And off to the other side, you come across the marketplace. Slightly different from ours, but you get the general idea. Now, it's cool to note over here in this section where the pirates are kind of pillaging and plundering, you're going to see something unique. But of course, we've got Captain Jack coming out of the barrel, just like in our version. But here you've got these swordsmen fighting, and that effect did not work early on, so it was quite an accomplishment. And it premiered at Disneyland Paris. Here's the town on fire that we're all very familiar with. And again, this was the last attraction that Walt Disney himself participated in the creation of at Disneyland. He passed away 3 months before it officially opened. It's always fascinating to me to see the little tweaks that Imagineers make with attractions around the world. Which ones have you experienced and which are your preferred? Do you have a preferred attraction at a specific Disney park? Let me know in the comments below. Okay, it's time to explore Dead Man's Maze over at Adventure Isle. Super cool, you guys. And Evie and I, just like Alice's maze, we kind of separated at a couple of points, but eventually we come together again. See over here, she kind of takes the right and I went left. I'm not sure why I did that. It seemed like there was a light on this side, so maybe there was an exit. And I did eventually come upon it, so guess I was right. Then we kept walking and climbing with the goal of reaching the suspension bridge. I kind of let Evie lead the way this time so we wouldn't get separated. And we made it over to the bridge. Another great view of the park from here. Let's hit the suspension bridge. Oh boy. Oh boy, it's not cold at all. Yeah, right. This suspension bridge is kind of bouncy. But that was fun. All right, we made it. We were done climbing at this point, but the treehouse is located in Adventure Isle as well. It's time for Indiana Jones. This is one of the coasters that I was most looking forward to, and it did not disappoint. Yeah, super cool.
We just rode Indiana Jones, and it was freaking awesome!
Awesome!
I was thinking it was going to be much worse, actually. It wasn't. What did you think?
It was cool, like Everest type.
Like Everest. A little bumpy, yeah. And I was afraid to film, so sorry, guys, no POV. It's a little, rough, and I didn't have the portable camera with me, so. But loved it. Would definitely do it again if we could. Right?
Yes.
Same here. 5 stars. 2 thumbs. Let's go to the next one.
Yeah, that was definitely a thrill. Can't wait to experience it again, hopefully next year. Even though we had talked about fish and chips over at Toad Hall, we ended up at Outpost Restaurant because they had a Mickey-shaped pizza. So, you gotta do it. Here's a shot of the menu. Yeah, the restaurant was absolutely packed, so we did have a difficult time finding a table. Eventually, we did come across one and sat down to enjoy our Mickey pizza. And I will say, it's not the best pizza I've ever had, but very decent for theme park pizza. We enjoyed it. So even though this was our Disneyland Park lunch, we're gonna rewind a day because we did enjoy Chef Remy over at Studios the day before. I wanted to kick off this vlog walking into Disneyland Park, so it didn't make sense to throw Chef Remy into the beginning of it. But we definitely enjoyed our very special lunch at Chef Remy. Check out some of the decorations. There is Anton Ego. And if you know anything about this restaurant, you know, just like the attraction, you are shrunk down to the size of a rat to dine. So everything inside the restaurant is larger than life. Here are your big cookbooks. See the giant plates in the background? There you go. Here are the tables and chairs, which are made out of bottle caps. Isn't that neat? And again, everything is larger than life because you are now the size of Remy. Even though the food was delicious, the theming alone is a great reason to visit this restaurant. Over here you've got Anton Ego's bottle of wine, and interesting enough, the date 2014 is the year that the restaurant Chez opened at Disneyland Paris. So here's the menu. We went with the Remy for €45. And on this side, you've got the kids menu. So of course, we started with the delicious bread. We had to have our Coca-Cola, of course. And I went with the duck pâté en croûte, and that marmalade was delicious. And then, of course, the roasted cod, because I had to try the ratatouille, even though it looked a little different from the movie. And Evie went with the steak and fries, but it seems she got her little ratatouille in there as well. We are so happy that we had that experience, and we did book it the day of arrival so it wouldn't eat into our park day, as far as attractions and that kind of thing. Speaking of attractions, here is Ratatouille, and again, first ride that we rode at Disneyland Paris. Well, over at Studios, right? It's pretty much identical to the attraction over at Epcot at Walt Disney World. There were a couple of sections that were a little different, but the gist of it is basically the same. You're shrunk down to the size of a rat and scurrying through, the kitchen. In a way, it's kind of fitting that Ratatouille, the French attraction, was our first experience at Disneyland Paris. So this attraction did open back in 2014, as I mentioned, with the bottle of wine. And our duplicate at Epcot was supposed to open in 2020, but was delayed from the pandemic, so it opened in 2021.
Hey, thanks for coming, everyone. Vous êtes toujours les bienvenus chez À bientôt et bonne appétit.
I love that at both attractions there's a mixture of French and English, which is actually the way it is at most of the attractions at Disneyland Paris. I think that's fantastic. Okay, and since we've jumped back a day, it's the perfect time to give you guys a quick tour of our resort hotel, Disney Sequoia Lodge. Okay, check it out. Again, very, very wilderness lodge. But I just love that warm, cozy vibe of this type of resort. Here are your buses that do take you over to the parks and where you would catch the train as well. Let's walk through the lobby, and here you've got the front desk. Notice the dark woods and the stone that help create that kind of rustic, American National Park vibe at the resort. Keep walking over here. You've got the concierge desk on the right. They're super nice and super helpful. And your restrooms here on the left. One little store is here on this side. And then we walk through the Redwood Bar and Lounge. Tell me that doesn't feel like Wilderness Lodge or the Grand Californian, you guys. Right? Then at the other end, you've got a second gift shop. There you go. And each of the Disney hotel properties do have meet and greet opportunities right inside the hotel. See, right here. Pluto was there earlier. Okay, so now we're at the lower level. Let's check out one of the buffet restaurants, which is Hunter's Grill. We didn't have a chance to dine here because, again, our time was very precious. We were on limited time, and why we chose McDonald's as a quick kind of grab-and-go option. But here, take a quick peek at the restaurant. Here's the buffet station on the left. We've got lots of little tables scattered throughout. Each of Disney's hotels also has an indoor pool. How pretty is that, you guys? This one's got a slide and everything. Really nice recreational area at the hotel. They've got pool tables and gaming tables. There's a lounge right over here on the left as well. And as you exit the building, each entrance does have security check. We were located at the Yosemite Lodge. So let's walk over so I can show you guys our room. It's over here on the right. Okay, here we go. We were room 210. And as you walk inside, you've got your bathroom here on the right. There's your sink and mirror. And over here, you've got your bathtub and the shower. Here you go. Behind the door on this side is your toilet. And here you've got a safe on the right. Here on the left, you've got your dresser and a coffee maker with your TV set. It's a tiny one. And your 2 queen-size beds. I really like the Bambi-inspired decor of the room. Though I will say these rooms are in need of refurbishment. They do need a bit of an update. Here's our view outside. Love that woodsy kind of vibe. I usually don't get into pricing because it's so subjective and depends on the time of the year, but we paid $15.35 US. That's $767 for the room tickets, our Premier Pass, and the Magic Shuttle. Was that a deal or what? Anyway, as you exit Sequoia Lodge, you've got Disney Village in the middle, so with the Marvel Hotel on the right, there's Iron Man, and Newport Bay on the left. Again, these are the 3 closest, aside from the Disneyland Hotel, which is right at the gate. Okay, now that that's out of the way, let's head back to the fun stuff. Here we are at Phantom Manor. Of course, we did want to get our photo taken with Mickey Mouse. Here he is in his Phantom Manor attire. So cute. And there you go. And here's our first shot with Mickey, kind of doing a spooky pose. And here's my birthday shot. He did point at my button, kind of wishing me happy birthday. And then it was time to experience the Phantom Manor itself.
Okay, it's time for the Phantom Manor, and this has got to be one of the coolest looking buildings. I really think it's already one of my favorite. We haven't even gotten inside. Let's head in, come on.
As we walked up the stairs, I got that brief reminder that Big Thunder Mountain was under refurbishment and we'd miss it on this trip. Darn. So, unlike our Haunted Mansion, the Phantom Manor does have an actual storyline. It revolves around Henry Ravenswood, which was a Western settler who struck gold in the Big Thunder Mountain area and founded a mining company, becoming ridiculously rich and purchasing this manor overlooking Big Thunder Mountain. So he lived there with his wife and daughter. As his daughter grew up and was courted by several suitors, Henry did everything in his power to make sure that she did not leave, the frontierland area, so these suitors were subjected to some terrible deaths. Ultimately, an earthquake kills Henry and his wife, but he returns as the Phantom that kind of terrorizes his daughter Melanie, forbidding her from ever being married. So, the eternal bride. Eventually she goes mad and swears her allegiance to the Phantom himself, becoming that spirit that kind of follows you home. It's a pretty creepy storyline if you ask me. There is the Phantom. One thing I will say, yes, this is absolutely creepy, especially as you travel down into the underworld, but it is cohesive. Whereas the Haunted Mansion, sometimes it's silly and goofy and then dark, this one maintains that kind of creepy factor throughout. So one thing to note about the mayor here, who's about to lose his head, there you go, that is the mold of the original Dreamfinder at Epcot, Figment's Journey into Imagination. Cool, right? So now we're traveling through the, Western underworld. It's very cool just to experience a different version of the Haunted Mansion. I really enjoyed this one a lot, and I think actually it's probably the attraction that I enjoyed the most at Disneyland Paris. Kind of cool knowing the story of the bride now, right? Yeah. So what do you think? Phantom Manor or Haunted Mansion? It's a tough one. So, Casa de Coco opened in July of 2023, and I wanted to at least swing by, give you guys a peek. We did not get to dine here. Neither of us were in the mood for burritos, but look how pretty that is. Definitely something to do next time. And they've still got their shooting gallery up over at Disneyland Paris. One thing we definitely did not want to miss was The Lion King Rhythms of the Pride Lands, which was absolutely spectacular, you guys. It goes on a break between March 10th and April 4th, so we were able to catch it just in time. It's a very, very different feel from the show we have at Animal Kingdom, which is more, kid-driven, and that's fine. This was a Broadway-style show, and all the performers killed it, you guys. Everyone was so good. Of course, it helps hearing the Lion King songs we all know and love. But you can tell this is Just Can't Wait to Be King. And that's Simba right there. Here is the performer that took on Scar, and what a voice this guy had. Oh my goodness, you guys. Yeah, he was phenomenal, seriously. You can probably tell that's Pumbaa, and this is the Hakuna Matata section. There's Timon back there. These shows usually incorporate aerialists, but it's rare to see the lead performer, there's Simba, taking that on as well. Seriously, if you have a trip planned to Disneyland Paris, this is a must-do. Don't miss it. On our way out of Adventureland, we had to swing by and check out the Aladdin display. So here you go. This is basically the story of Aladdin, kind of told in these window sculptures, Very pretty, but I always wonder why Aladdin didn't get its own attraction. And I'm not talking, the spinning carpet ride type thing. I mean like a serious attraction, a dark ride or a coaster where you're on a carpet. Yeah, that'd be my preference. Get on that, Imagineers. Come on. Not to take away from this was pretty cool. But I think Aladdin deserves its own attraction. Speaking of coasters, we couldn't leave without hitting Hyperspace Mountain. So we didn't spend much time in Discoveryland, but we did swing by to ride Hyperspace Mountain. Gotta say, it's the most intense, very, very smooth, so not kind of rough like ours at Disney World, but it was super intense. I mean, I'm talking upside down, all kinds of inversions, yeah, nuts. The Nautilus is a walkthrough, by the way, not a ride. There's Stitch again. We did catch the parade on our way out. It was really, really cute. And of course, these things are just never the same unless you're there in person. Video just, doesn't do it justice at all. Plus, there's nothing like those Disney songs, to really set the mood and get the parade going. But anyway, I figured at least I'd give you some of the visuals so you could check out the floats and the characters, that kind of thing. There's Nemo. And Dory. Of course, they also have their version of Maleficent, the dragon, along with the princess's float. There's Aurora, followed by Cinderella. Then you've got Jasmine on our side, and Belle and Moana. Olaf was there too. And then Elsa and Anna kind of rounded out the parade. Yeah, they were the very last float in the parade. So the plan was to hit a couple of rides over at Studios before our Premier Pass expired for the day. We had an amazing day at Disneyland, and now we're gonna pop into Studios for just a little bit, see if we can knock out Avengers Campus and the Iron Man coaster, a few things like that, and then come back to Disneyland for the big finale fireworks show. It's brand new, just debuted in January, so we definitely want to check that out. See how long it takes to walk over to the other park. It's literally right next door, kind of like at Disneyland in California, where you walk across the way and boom, you're at California Adventure. Well, that took just a few minutes. We're already here. Check it out. Okay, here we are at Avengers Campus, my second one. This one opened summer of 22, while the one in California Adventure opened in the summer of 2021. Here's your meet and greet spot. Very, similar vibe, though this one does feel a tad bit smaller because in California, they did convert Tower of Terror to the Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout. They don't have that over in Paris, but you've got Web Slingers, which is a blast. Really enjoy that attraction. Let's head inside so you can check it out. There is Peter Parker himself. And I've got to say, last year, Lee kicked my butt, but this year, I was the top scorer. There I am, 204 compared to everyone else. So I kicked some butt this time. Then it was time to head over to Flight Force. And again, I mentioned earlier, this is a re-theme of Rocket Roller Coaster. So they didn't change the track, just the theming more or less. Here you go, using the Premier Access. Very nice. There's Iron Man. Super cool. Here you've got the safety instructions and where to place your bags, etc. And this is what the coaster looks like. Super sleek, right? It is very, very smooth, but I've got to say, not as crazy as Hyperspace Mountain. Speaking of crazy, oh my gosh, I don't think either Evie or myself were ready for a Crush's coaster. This one was nuts, you guys. That little shell, not only is it a coaster and feels very much like Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind, but that little shell itself spins on its axis. It's just crazy, you guys. I think it made me a little sick, actually, because I wasn't expecting it. I mean, we had a blast, so don't get me wrong, just wasn't expecting it. We're here at the Lucky Nugget for our chicken tendies. First chicken tendies at Disneyland Paris. Can you imagine? So we couldn't leave without trying them. And I don't know, felt like the right thing to have for dinner right before the big fireworks spectacular. And then we're both gonna crash pretty hard because we've been at it. How long, Evie?
Since 7 this morning.
Yeah, I was up at around 6, filmed the hotel and stuff. And then we came over Starbucks and then came over to the park by 8:30, which was the early, start to the day. All right, let me show you what our Lucky Nuggets look like. Hands down, some of the best chicken tenders I've ever had at Disney, and that includes the cruise ships. Plus, we had some really yummy sundaes for dessert. It was included with the price of the meal. Here's a quick look at the Lucky Nugget, which is in Frontierland, by the way. I feel so very fortunate that we were able to catch the new Disney Tales of Magic fireworks show. I mean, it just opened in January. It was phenomenal. Of course, there's nothing like hearing it with the Disney music we all know and love. But once those drones hit, wow, you guys. Sensational. Just absolutely beautiful. Again, video just doesn't do it justice. This is something that has to be experienced live and in person. Well, it's about 9:30. We just saw the brand new nighttime show. Fireworks, projections. Absolutely gorgeous, you guys. Unbelievable. The drones, just wow. Totally, at a different level. I know that we're used to the shows at Walt Disney World and even Disneyland in California, but this definitely takes it up a notch. Absolutely beautiful. I got a little teary-eyed. It finally hit me that I'm in Paris watching the brand new nighttime spectacular and walking through the streets of Disneyland Paris, something that, I've wanted to do since I was a kid. Anyway, feeling a little emotional, but heading back, we're exhausted. I woke up at about 6, walked through the hotel, filmed, got here by 8:30, rope dropped, and it's 9:30 now, and we're walking out of here. But wonderful day. We hit every single ride we wanted to, and just couldn't be happier. So tomorrow, some last minute shopping, then we head into the city, and we've got plans for Paris. So, Notre Dame, the Eiffel Tower, and wrapping it up at the Louvre. So just a dream trip, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I owe it all to you guys. Thanks to you and continuing to work with me and to book with Outer Rim Travels that I'm able to take these trips and share them with you guys. Okay, that's all for now. I'll see you tomorrow morning. Got one more day here to hang out at Disneyland. Night. Well, it's checkout day already. My birthday. Today's February the 9th. And we've got to check out. We're going to go into the parks for just a little bit. Maybe grab some last minute footage and some breakfast. And then in the afternoon, we're heading into the city. We've got a hotel somewhere between the Arc and the Eiffel Tower. Perfect placement. And then we've got a river cruise tonight for my birthday. All that in the next video. That is, we've got the Disneyland half and then the regular Paris city video. I really enjoyed this property. It's beautiful, as you've seen in the video. Very much reminds me of Wilderness Lodge, and the Grand Californian. So we're gonna head into the parks for a little bit, and then I will wrap up the video, say my goodbyes to Disneyland Paris, and head into Paris. We did swing by McDonald's before entering the parks, just, to grab some sustenance because we didn't have much time. Needed to grab our train in the afternoon to head into Paris. But I wanted to show you some of the stuff on the menu, like veggie nuggets and a Choco Nuts burger. So we had some hot chocolate and an Egg McMuffin. And then we went straight to Avengers Campus so I could grab some footage because the day before it had rained a lot. Here's the Hulkbuster. So this was basically for pickup shots for the video and maybe a little shopping, but not much more. And that's going to do it for our time here at Disneyland Paris. Had an amazing few days. It's never long enough, unfortunately. But this afternoon, we hop on the train, head into Paris for, the other part of our trip. So remember, this is a 2-part series, the Disneyland half and then the Paris part. So look for that video in the not too distant future. Anyway, thank you so much for watching and for joining me here on the channel. And as always, have an out of this world day. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.